Oh yes, it's that time of year. It's the time when we've got to deal with the spiders that live under the car. I've got myself some things that are going to help me, and maybe some things that aren't going to help me. Let's do it. Warning. The warning on this video has been removed, and this video is highly educational. I don't know why I bother with YouTube these days, seriously. Within 30 seconds of this video being uploaded, on the original upload it was demonetized. Up the end of the video, I'll have more to say about this. Please listen to what I've got to say. I know YouTube won't be listening. First thing I grab is a torch, and the neighbours have started to use a whippersnipper, but hey, that's how it works here. Oh yes, don't you love the sound of whippersnippers in the morning? This spider has set up at the back of my car here. I've got the torches there so we can see the web that's going down to the ground. Okay, coming down from that rear feature on the car, hopefully you can see going across frame there is basically diagonal web. I'll try and get my finger in there to point it out. It's just here. Okay, I believe that's Redback Spider. And I'll try and point out the connection part to the ground, but I really notice this because there's some danglies in the web. So often I notice it because of the danglies. This is the area here where the drop-down lines connect with the concrete floor. Lots of ants traverse through here, and basically the ants get caught in the drop-down line, and the rest is history. This web setup is actually very tricky to see. It may not be redback, it might be one of those grey widow spiders, and if I take a look at this area here where the spider is set up, I can see a clue to maybe what spider this is. Right in the middle of the screen there is a spider skin there, so whatever spider is living here has grown up a bit, shed a skin and left it right there. Where the web comes up and connects to the car, this is a very recluse area in here. Anything could be going on inside there, so if I come in with a spider spray, we may not see the spider. It may dart further into the car and recluse. Looking down underneath the feature there, right in the middle of the screen, there's a bit of spider web there, but really it's all dark and horrible up there. Who knows what's living up there? I'm going to put some white card under the area where I'm going to spray, so if something drops down, I'll get a better view of it. I've got this spray here, the Mortine Fast Knockdown. It's a top shelf stuff, kills in one spray. This can is nearly empty, and I've also got my favourite cheap spray, the good old Coles Multi-Insect Killer. I'm going to come in with a reverse spray first, that is like coming from behind. Hopefully that will trick the spider. And I'll come in with a blast like that. As you can hear, this can is almost empty now. Something might come running for its life. Or sometimes absolutely nothing will happen. It can be like that. Okay, we've got the spider. We have got the spider. It's down on the ground there. It is about the size that I thought it would be. Let me see if I can get up closer to properly ID that one. Nasty. Okay, there is a spider there. Yes, that fast stuff works fast. Can you tell what spider that is? I'll be able to tell more once I see it on the computer screen. It is, well, whatever it is very immature. I'm thinking it's redback. I'm thinking it's a very young redback. If I'm wrong, or you can tell me, maybe I can put a title up once I work out when I see a better look at that there. Let me just spin it around and see the back of it. One thing about it is it's very immature. Okay, I've got a little lens that gets in even closer. That is definitely a redback. I can just see the redback starting on the back of this spider. When they're immature and they're going between spiderling to being an adult spider, it can be very difficult to tell. The red is just starting to show, but sadly for this girl, guess what? It's good night, sister. Oh yeah. Oh, I've just wrecked my cardboard. Dang it. Yes, sort of different, but in a funny way, sort of the same. The way these spiders operate, there's something about my cars that they really like, and very, very sinister the way it was set up in this recluse area here, but it was sort of nice to also see, going along here, the spider skin that is there. Maybe some of you realise what spider it was when you saw that spider skin. Okay, so we've dealt with the spider out of the car. There is a spider up at the front gate, and I'll just get all my goods and chattels here, work out how to turn the lights off, and we'll go and deal with this next spider. And I think the next spider, I'll be using a little bit of flame. Before I head up to the front gate, let's take a look at the spider control chart here. That made me understand how to control the redback spiders, because I understand their breeding cycle. This is set to the Australian summer, so our summer is December, January, February. As I'm making this video, it's actually right here, the first week of February. Okay, all the children are back at school now. And seeing the size of the spider that I've just seen under the car tells me that maybe this is a very important time to do some spider control. So the spider we've just seen here, if I step back in time a bit, okay, well it would have been a spiderling going back a month there. Okay, step back another, let's say, 6 weeks or so. So it's probably come out of its egg sac back in November, and it's got to the size that we saw right at the beginning of February. Let's say if I let that spider live, it would keep feeding through March and April. We get into our what we call autumn, but I put fall here because the American friends would relate to that. The spiders lay dormant during June, July, and they come back to life, I say up mid to late August, and then the cycle just starts over again. It just never ever stops. And once I got my head around the way these spiders operate and drew up this chart, I was able to give these spiders, well, basically a We've got a lot less redback spiders around our place now than, let's say, a couple of years back. Okay, let's take a look at front gate spider. It's sort of like front gate spider 2.0 because, well, being an adaptive critter and being able to basically change the environment to what they like, well, front gate spider is living down there. Yeah, so I walk past a spider every day called Jim Spider. Do you want to take a look at Jim Spider? She's been very active. She's caught lots of things. And she is a wonderful, wonderful thing. In fact, I think she wouldn't be that far off from laying egg sacs after getting into a giant cockroach. In fact, she's caught cicadas, all sorts of things, black beetles, my crikey Charlies. She is an awesome wonder of nature. And it seems like that not many people see Jim Spider, but because I've got those redback spider eyes, I say hello to Jim Spider every morning I walk past her. She's awesome and she's breeding on. Let's give a shout out to Jim Spider. Maybe we can give her a name as well because, well, Jim Spider's sounding a little bit macho. Remember, she is a girl. Okay, well, looking down here, what I've done is I've actually fed the ants something sugary to bring the ants out. This is right on an ant nest area. And the redback spider has set up her nest in there. Okay, and if I draw back here slowly, and I can go in and show you the spider who is actually feeding on something right now. Isn't she wonderful? Okay, there she's there. She's very small. She's not that much different to the one that I saw underneath the car. She's feeding on something, and I noticed her here just, well, basically a week ago. I've been keeping a very close eye on her, and I think it's time to basically tidy her up, eh? At least she's going out with a full stomach. You might say, well, that's a very small spider, very small redback spider, but you got to think forward. By next season, that little spider won't be so little, and it's going to be a breeder. I can also see one of her skins there. They shed the skin. That's the way these spiders grow. And maybe you recall that I used to get spiders underneath the control box here, and I put the white lithium grease, heaps of it under there, and it has stopped the spiders from sitting up there. But I added some brickwork here, and what I've done is basically created like a new spider home. You can see leaves that she's put in there, and there's an ant nest down here somewhere, so it's like the perfect place for these spiders to set up. Well, I'll clear my lights from here because I don't want to wreck them, and I'll basically turn this into a very unperfect home for Mrs. Spider. This thing is like a baby weed dragon. Look, I think it's just good for doing little work like this. Okay, it has a nice clear flame like that, but if I turn it upside down, I can get it to be a bit nasty. Okay, let's do it. I'm sorry, Mrs. Redback, but it's a good, nice sister. She can't run from that, I can tell you. And sorry to the ants as well. I didn't mean to take you guys out with this flame. In any war, there's collateral damage, and unfortunately, yes, some ants got caught up in this, but don't worry, they'll build their numbers up. And in that ash pile there, somewhere is, well, Mrs. Redback Spider. Good night, sister. I can see the ants dealing with the wounded ants from my fire control. They'll just become food for the ant colony. The ants waste nothing. And to say sorry to the ants, I've got some nice sugary stuff here so they don't think I'm a giant meanie, and I'll just put it in here, and I'm sure that they'll latch onto this stuff really, really fast. Oh yeah. Bring it on. That'll feed up the colony. Oh, it's amazing the difference that an hour can make. The ants have come in, they're having a lovely feed. I hope they forgive me for the collateral damage that was caused in dealing with that redback spider nest, hey? But hey, ants are survivors. Ants will basically be here forever, and ants are totally amazing. Bring on the ants, I say. Bring them on, bring them on. Well, let's finish off and take a look at my pet redback spider called Bindi. Yay! Bindi was named by a YouTuber who's now going places while my channel gets destroyed. There's Bindi the redback spider. She is the last surviving spider in this spider tank. There were thousands of redback spiders in here, mainly spiderlings, but there were also some adult spiders as well. So Bindi is a survivor. Yeah, it's quite curious what happens in the spider tank between, let's say, week 12 to week 16. There's like a great disaster that wipes out the population, and I'm not exactly sure what causes it. My crikeys, I've just seen something rather remarkable. Is that a Gonzo? It's climbing the only bit of greenery which is in here. I can't believe it. If it is a Gonzo, is that a Mark III Gonzo? Because I think we've already had Mark II. It looks like a Gonzo-y sort of thing. Well, anyway, let's call it Gonzo Mark III, eh? Wonderful to see. How's it survived the spider tank? I've got no idea. Thinking of survive as well, there's a giant woody or cockroach thing there. I call them cockroaches, you may call it something else, whatever it is. It's ginormous and it'll be a massive meal for Bindi the Redback Spider. Once you take a good look down the floor of the spider tank there, it's actually totally alive with critters. There were lots of things that I put in there over the many weeks the Redback Spiders were in here. And lots of those things have continued on and survived, and looks like they've also bred up some great numbers. I know you'll want a Gonzo update. Gonzo, I think, was attempting to fly, and I think that's what's going on there. I think it's trying to plan an escape, and Gonzos tend to be wired like that, I've noticed, but they always, well, tend to fail. There's a lot of fail bugs in this tank, and, well, Gonzo Mark III is just another classic example. Little did I know, on the day I made this video, there was another giant storm headed our way. This is not the hailstorm we had back in December, this is another one on top of that. Let me give you a sneak peek of this amazing, scary storm. This is one of these really bad summer storms, like a tropical depression. So much rain is falling, there's a lot of lightning. The roof there it's just leaking water. I mean, all our roofs are weakened. That's the garage where I've already had all the damage from the other hailstorm that we had back in December. But man, this is just crazy. This is just crazy weather. Very scary. It's a very scary thing to watch. Woo! The people's still driving in there. Oh, holy mackerel. Oh my God, there are people stopping. Oh man, this is really bad. This is really bad. Okay, you got a feel for that storm. It was actually very scary. It's caused a stack more damage to the houses that were already ripped apart from the hailstorm we had back in December. There were trees down. It was just crazy. And one of the things I thought about after this storm was, what about poor old Mrs. Redback Drain Spider? Did she survive the storm? Well, this storm and what happened to Mrs. Redback Drain Spider will become upcoming videos. Do you think Mrs. Redback Drain Spider could survive that savage storm? And I absolutely guarantee to you that very few people will answer that very simple question. Okay, I'm not going to sit down and be passively smacked around by this company anymore. I'm going to fight the system. I'm going to keep re-uploading this video until it gets monetized and until YouTube come clean and they tell me what's been triggering in the demonetization. You see, the problem for the producer is we're never ever told what the trigger point is. Now, the peculiar part in this video is when I talk about the spider season, I show that chart that I've been showing in many videos when I talk about the spiders, because this is educational video, you know. I speak about something related to, let's just call it, I have to be careful when I say here, it's related to, let's say, World War II and the country Germany. Okay, it's a bit of a saying. That saying may have triggered the demonetization, but then again, how would I ever know? Who knows, the skull and crossbones in the thumbnail may have triggered the demonetization, but again, you're never told. This is the great and epic fail of this system, because as producers, we are just spooked out of our skins in what to upload to this quite ridiculous video site. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding gruff here, but YouTube have zero respect for the YouTube producers. And in the way my channel has been treated by the demonetization, it's a bit like the game Kaplunk. Every time it's a demonetized video, it's like another straw pulled out of the toy, and sooner or later all those marbles collapse, and that's like your whole channel collapsing and being worth zero. And I've even had some people say to me there are certain words that will trigger demonetization. Let's say if I say black spider, apparently that will trigger a demonetization or have that as a tag or in the titles. If that's true, that's quite sad. I think that's very sad, but then again, how would you know? There's a lot of people just saying things, but how can you confirm that a certain word or a certain picture or a certain bit of video causes demonetization. All I know on this video here is that it happened very, very fast. And if they expect me to sit back for a week and wait for them to decide, well, you've got another thing coming, because I'm going to fight you from here on. I'm going to fight you, fight you, fight you.